She found that the senior sisters monopolized the priests and bishops with Bible leaders more sophisticated than hers would ever be, and that it might be years before she got anywhere near Father Mulligan. She grew up restless and unhappy in the convent. She developed a stubborn allergy and rash in her skull from the constant chafing of her wimple. She felt she spoke much better in English than everybody else. This made her lonelier than ever. Within a year of her journey in the convent, her father began to receive personal letters from her in the mail. My dearest Papa, I'm well and happy in the service of Our Lady, but Koino appears to be unhappy. Homesick, my dearest Papa. There is Koinur vomited after lunch and is running a temperature. My dearest Papa, common food does not seem to suit Koinur that I like it well enough. My dearest Papa, Koinur is upset because her family seems to neither understand nor care about her well-being. Other than in the fact that it was at the time the name of the world's biggest diamond, Reverend Eugene knew no other Koinur. He wondered how a girl with a Muslim name had ended up in a Catholic convent. It was baby Kochama's mother who eventually realized that Koh-i-Noor was none other than baby Kochama herself. She remembered that long ago she had shown baby Kochama a copy of her father's. Baby Kochama's grandfather's will in which describes his grandchildren. He had written, I have 7 jewels, one of which is my Koh-i-Noor. He went on to bequeath little bits of money and jewelry to each of them, never clarifying which one he considered his Koh-i-Noor. Baby Kochama's mother realized that Baby Kochama, for no reason that she could think of, assuming that he had meant her, and all these years later, the convent, knowing that all her letters were by the modest spirit before they were posted, I resorted to Koh-i-Noor to communicate her troubles to her family. Reverend High went to Madras and withdrew his daughter from the convent. She was glad to leave, but insisted that she would not reconvert, and for the rest of her days remained a Roman Catholic. Reverend Hyde realized that his daughter, at by no developed reputation, was unlikely to find an husband. He decided that since she couldn't have a husband, there was no harm in her even education. So he made arrangements for her to attend a course of study at the University of Rochester in America. 2 years later, baby Kochama returned from Chester with a diploma of ornamental gardening, but more in love with Father Mulligan than ever. There was no trace of the slim, attractive gal that she had been. In her years at Rochester, baby Kochama and the ground extremely large. In fact, let it be said, obese. Him and 10 little Chelapentellers Changman Bridge, and Sister changed Bashar's race for Seri Blazes. To keep her from running a father gave baby Kochama charge of the grown garden of the Yemen house, where she raised a fierce bitter garden that people came all the way from Kottayam to see. It was a circular sloping patch of ground with a steep gravel driveway living around it. Baby Kochama turned it into a large maze of jewelry, just works and gargoyles. The flower she loved the most was the Anthurium antranum. She had a collection of them, the rubrum, the honeymoon, and the also Japanese varieties. Their single succulent spear ranged from shades of mottled black to blood red and glistening orange. The prominent stepped spades is always yellow. The center of baby Kochama's garden is surrounded by beds of cannon flocks, a marble cherub pit, an endless silver arch in the shallow pool in which a single blue lotus bloomed. Adding to a shallow pool in which a single blue lotus bloomed. At each corner of the pool lolled a pink plaster of Paris gnome with rosy cheeks and a peaked red cap. Baby Kochama spends her afternoon in her garden. and saris and gumboots. She with enormous pair of shirts and her bright orange gardening gloves. Like a lion tamer, she tamed twists vines and nurtured bristling cacti. She limited bonsai plants and pampered rare orchids, which were in the weather. She tried to grow Edelweiss and Chinese guava. Every night she creamed her feet with real cream and pushed back the cuticle on her toenails. Reluctantly, after enduring more than a half a century of relentless pernicate tension, the ornamental garden had been abandoned. Life was on the vice at the ground nothing, and while like a circus, whose animals had forgotten their tricks. The weird people called communists Pacha because of flourishing care-alike smothered the more exotic plants, only the vines caps grind like toenails on a corpse. They reached through the nostrils the pink placer gnomes, and blossoming in their whole heads, giving them expression, how surprised of Nisi coming. The reason for this sudden ceremonious dumping was a new loaf. Baby Kochama, the solid dish antenna on the roof, the Yemen mouse. She presided over the world in her drawing room on satellite TV. The impossible excitement that is engendered in Baby Kochamas wasn't hard to understand. Was something uh, that happened gradually. It happened overnight. Blondes, world famous footballers, music caps, they all arrived in the same train and unpacked together. They stayed at the same hotel in the Yemen where once the latest sound had been a musical buzzword. Now all world's famous patrons, masseurs, and Bill Clinton Colby summoned up like servants. And so while the ornamental garden wilted and died, Baby Kochama followed American NBA League games, one day cricket, on all the Grand Slam tennis tournaments. On weekdays, she watched the ball in the beautiful and Santa Barbara, where people blondes with lipsticks and hairstyles reaching with brides, seducer drawings and defending their sexual empires. Baby Kochama loved their shining clothes and the smart, beachy reporting. During the day, disconnected snatches of it came back to her, made her chuckle. Coach Maria, the cook's the worst, the fickle Erin that had disfigured her hair loss forever. She enjoyed the WWF Wrestling Mania shows where Hulk Hogan is perfect, whose necks were wider than their ass, was Balkan liquor leggings, and beat each other brutally. Coach Maria's love and their slightly cruel ring to it that young children sometimes have. All day, they sat in the drawing room, Baby Kochamas rolled the long arm planter chair on the chaise long depending the condition of the feet. Coach Maria next to her on the floor, channel surfing when she could, look together in a noisy television silence. One stares no why, the others tired, cold black. They entered all the contests, valuing themselves all the discounts that were advertised, and had on occasion won a t-shirt and thermos flask that Baby Kochama kept locked away in their cupboard. Baby Kochama loved the M&M house and cherished the furniture that she had inherited by outliving everybody else. Mamachi's violin, a violin stand, the haughty cupboards, the plastic basket chair, daily pads, the dressing table from Vienna with crackled ivory knobs, the rosewood dining table that Feluta made. She was frightened by the BBC famines and television. Worse, that she encountered while she channel surfed her all the fears of the revolution, Marcus Lenin's menace had been rekindled by new television warnings about the growing numbers of desperate and dispossessed people. She viewed ethnic cleansing, famine, and genocide as direct threats to her furniture. She kept her doors and windows locked unless she was using them. She used the window for specific purposes, for a breath of fresh air, to pay for the meal, to let out the top of the wasp, which Coach Maria was made to chase around the house with a towel. She even locked their sad, pen-flinking fridge where she got a rich supply of cream buns that the Coach Maria brought her from Best Bakery in Kottayam, and the tube of rice water that she drank instead of ordinary water in the shelf below the buffalo tray. She kept what was left of Mamachi's willow part dinosaurs. She put the dozen or so bottles of insulated raw brought air in the cheese and butter compartment. She suspected that this day even the innocents of the round-eyed could be crockery crews or cream bun cravers or the TB diabetics crazy Yemen for importing insulin. She didn't even trust the twins. She deemed them capable of anything at all. They might even steal their present back, she thought, and realized with a pang how quickly she had reverted to thinking of them as though they were a single unit once again. After all those years, determined not to let the past creep up on her, she altered her for once. She might steal her present back. She looked at Rahel sitting at the dining table and noticed the same eerie stealth, the ability to keep very still and very quiet that Esther seemed to have mastered. Baby Kochama was a little intimidated by Rahel's quietness. So she said, her voice still faltering, "What are your plans? How long will you be staying? Have you decided?" Rahel tried to say something. It came out juggled, like a piece of tin. She walked to the window and opened it for a breath of fresh air. "Shut it when you have finished with it," Baby Kochama said, and closed her face like a cupboard. You couldn't see the ride from the window anymore. You could until Mamachi had at the back veranda closed in a Yemen fire sliding falling door. The oil portraits of Reverend Jonaib and Aloyid Hamachi, as and Rahel's great grandparents, were taken down from the back veranda and put up on the front one. They hung there now, the little blessed one and his wife on either side of a staff mounted bison hat. Reverend High smiled on his confidence, and ancestors smiled out across the road instead of the river. Ali Yeti Hamachi looked more hesitant, as though she would have liked to turn around but couldn't. Perhaps it wasn't uneasy for her to abandon the river. With her eyes, she looked in the direction that her husband looked. With her heart, she looked away. Her heavy, dull gold Kunuku earrings, token of the little blessed one's goodness, had switched her hair lobe and hung all the way down to her shoulders. Though the hole in her ears, you could see that the whole river and the gnarled trees had bent into it, and the fishermen in their boats and the fish. Though you couldn't see the river from the house anymore, like a seashell always has a sea sense, the M&M house still had a river sense, rushing, rolly fish swimming sense. From the night room window where she saw with the wind in her hair, Rahel could see the rain run down on the Russian roof what used to be their grandmother's pickle factory, Paradise Pickles and Preserves. It lay between the house and the river. They used to make pickles, squashes, jams, curry powders, and canned pineapples and banana jam illegally. After the AFBO authorization banning it because, according to their specifications, it was neither jam nor jelly. Too thin for jelly and too thick for jam. An ambiguous and classifiable consistency, they said. As per the books, looking back now, it seems as though this difficulty that the family had with classification ran much deeper than the jam jelly questions. Perhaps Samuel Heston she were the worst transgressors, but it was just them and it was the others too. They all broke the rules, they all crossed into forbidden territory, they all tampered with the laws. Town should be looking and how much. The laws that make grandmothers, uncles, mothers, cousins, jam, jolly, jelly. It was a time when uncles became fathers, mothers, lovers, cousins died and had funerals. It was a time when the unthinkable became thinkable and impossible really happened. Him before Sophie's most funeral, the police found Voluta. His hands and the goosebumps where the handcuffs touched his skin. Calling cows with a sore smell like seals by rails and the smell of the bus conductor's hands from all in them. After it was all over, Baby Kochama said, as he saw so shall he reap, as though she had nothing to do with her sewing and reaping. She returned on her small feet to her cross-stick and embroidery. Her little toes never touched the floor. It was her idea that Esther be returned. Margaret Kochama's grief and bitterness at her daughter's death coiled inside her like an angry spring. She said nothing, but slapped Esther whenever she could in the day she was there before she returned to England. Rael watching Amos pack Esther's little trunk. Maybe they were right, Thomas whispered said. Maybe a boy does not need a papa. Rael saw that her eyes were real dead. They